they started dating, she thought God had answered her prayer. But the closer they came to their wedding date, the more he had changed. Now he was barely a remnant of the man she'd fallen in love with, and was set to marry in less than a month. Oh no, she was doing exactly what she shouldn't be right now, wasting time. She hung the towel back on the hook and rushed out of the bathroom. Her parents were out with friends this afternoon, leaving her and Simeon alone in the house. If her mother and father had been there, they wouldn't have gotten into a fight. He was always on his best behavior when anyone else was around. But when they were alone... She ran out of the house and jumped into the buggy. Not an easy feat since she had gained more than 40 pounds this year, on top of the 30 she already needed to lose. The buggy's cover did little to mask the heat of the hot desert sun, and she immediately broke out in a sweat. Simeon gave her a look of disgust. "You need to go on a diet," he said, lightly tapping the horse's back with the reins. So much for being sorry. It wasn't lost on her that he often treated his horse better than he treated her. "I am on a diet." "Then why do you keep getting fatter?" He glared at her, his thick black brows becoming a single line over his deep-set dark brown eyes that used to make her swoon every time she looked into them. Now all she felt was fear. I don't know," she mumbled, but she did know. Each morning she promised to stick to her diet, and by the end of the day she failed. This past month she had given up entirely, the urge to eat becoming more overwhelming the closer they came to their wedding day. There was no reason to talk to him about it, or about anything else important to her. He wouldn't understand, or even try to. He turned the corner and guided his buggy down the Schroeder's road. Her stomach turned, and she stared at her lap, sweat dripping down the sides of her face as they continued on the short drive. She glanced at his profile, remembering when his chiseled jaw and full mouth made her heart race. How could a man with such a beautiful outside be so horrible inside? At least she would have a reprieve at the Schroeders, not only because they would be around other people, but because Galen's wife, Elsie, was one of Katharine's friends. One of the few she had left since Simeon monopolized all of her time outside of her job making baskets and her chores at home. When they arrived at the Schroeders, Simeon parked the buggy and turned to Katharine. "Not a word about what happened today. Do you understand?" She nodded. "Yeah." His eyes switched from hard to endearing, almost loving. He cupped her cheek with his palm, and she fought not to pull away. "I love you, Katharine. That's why I get so angry. I care about you so much, and I just want what's best for you. But when you get rebellious, I have to intervene. That's my God-given duty. We both know that." Her fingernails pressed into her palm. Earlier today, his idea of her being rebellious was not being ready when he came to pick her up. Last week she was late for their date because she had helped her mother bake apple pies to take to a store to sell. Whenever she didn't do or say exactly what he wanted, she was rebelling. "Do you forgive me?" She paused, feeling his fingers tighten slightly on her cheek. "Yeah," she finally managed to say. "I forgive you." He removed his hand. She didn't miss him wiping his palm on his pants before getting out of the buggy. The way he could switch his emotions on and off confused her. "Lord, am I wrong when I don't do everything he says and I don't perfectly follow his schedule? I don't want to rebel or disappoint you. But I'm miserable, Lord. And I'm sorry, but lately I haven't felt anything for Simeon. I thought I loved him, and he loved me, but now I'm not sure of anything." "Katharine!" She hurried out of the buggy, then turned around and grabbed the basket that held an extra apple pie she and her mother had baked to bring to the Schroeders. It was one of the first baskets she'd made when she started weaving them 4 years ago. Since then she had developed a good business, selling them out of her and her parents' home, and she had a large nest egg built up, one that Simeon knew about. She wished she'd never told him about the money. By the time she was headed for the house, Simeon was already talking to Galen, who was standing in front of a black gas grill. The lid was open, and large puffs of smoke floated in the air. As she passed by the 2 men and headed for the house, Simeon's eyes narrowed at her for a split second before he grinned and turned to talk to Galen again. Was this how their marriage would be for the rest of their lives? Him running hot and cold, physically abusing her and pleading for forgiveness afterward? And what about any children the Lord might bless them with?